podcast. My name is Geoff, and his name is Paul. I feel like we should come up with a fresh and exciting intro.
We'll work on it. We'll workshop this and come up with something absolutely mind-blowing that communicates the message of our names, but in a far more interesting way, perhaps.
Okay, I'm going to leave that to you. So we're not alone tonight, and
no, thankfully.
We're joined by a gentleman whose name is new to the world of Doctor Who, but I would say that his impact so far has been mightily impressive, and people are loving it, aren't they?
Yes, definitely.
Welcome, Rory Thomas-Howes, to Who Corner to Corner podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. How are you tonight?
Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm very excited to chat about Doctor Who. It's pretty much all that goes on in my brain, so it's nice to actually speak about it.
You are fully indoctrinated into the world of our favourite Time Lord.
Very much.
You'll fit in well here then. So we've got a few questions. Well, we've got more than a few questions for you tonight, Rory. I'm going to kick this off with one that came from one of our listeners over on Twitter, who's DW Fan 91, and they ask if you've had a good day.
Oh, thank you, DW Fan 91. That's very kind of you. Yes, I have had a good day, actually, so thank you for asking. So rare that you get asked that on anything like this.
That's the first time we've been asked that question, isn't it, from
anyone? You'll notice it doesn't come to us. It was specifically to Rory.
First time anyone's asked that question of our guest, I suppose that's the right way to do it.
That's the most important thing, yeah. So, Rory, let's go back to the beginning to start with. How did you get into Doctor Who? You just said that's what predominantly fills your mind, which is much like Paul and I. So, what was the moment that really kind of captured your attention with it?
So I was probably about 12, I think, and my parents had sort of talked about this show that was coming back, and I didn't really know anything about it, and I wasn't very interested because it was something that my parents were into, so obviously I couldn't possibly...
Not cool.
Absolutely.
Not cool. And famously, as a Doctor Who fan, I was a very cool child, as we all were.
Still are. What are you talking about?
Still are. Yeah. But I sat down with them, and we were just having dinner, and it was on, and it was The Empty Child.
Oh, okay.
That was the first episode.
Yeah, part one. Yeah.
Part one, yeah. So it was the first episode I ever watched, and obviously immediately I lost my mind for it. I thought it was incredible. Couldn't wait till the next week. Watch the next week's episode. Absolutely. I think it might be like the fast. I used to get very I still do get very obsessed with things very quickly and would just go mad for them. And I think this was like the fastest one my parents had ever seen.
Wow.
And my dad actually went out and bought back in those days they had the DVDs, and it was like 3 episodes per DVD. And he went out and bought all the ones that had already come out so that I could, because we didn't have iPlayer or anything back then. He went and bought those, and I went and just absolutely blitzed the first season. And then honestly just never ever stopped. Just carried on, just hungry for more series, and just became an absolute obsession of mine since 2005. So since 2005, just been constantly just fell in love with it and never fell out of love, which is great.
Brilliant. So did you go into the back catalogue and watch a bunch of the old stories?
I actually only started doing that very recently. I tried to watch the whole of the classic series last year.
Wow. From start to finish, the whole thing?
Yeah, it's not possible. It's really hard.
My goodness.
I do have some other things in my life, not many, but I do have a couple. So I've watched all of William Hartnell. I've watched all of Patrick Troughton.
Yes.
I got through quite a lot of Pertwee, and then I've just watched lots of bits of the others, like moments and episodes and throughout. I mean, it's my goal to eventually watch all of it, but just getting through the catalogue is quite nice. And I'm quite like a completionist, so I always try and do it in like a short time frame, which means I kind of burn out a little bit. But
that's a valiant effort going for that.
Absolutely,
and, you know, fair play for, you know, taking a little pause on it, because there's a lot, you know, like I can't even get through a collection box set in a reasonable time frame.
Can't even watch a single episode these days without booking it in. 6 months in advance, isn't it?
Yeah, to be clear, I didn't stop because I wasn't enjoying it. I stopped because, you know, for my health,
Things
really.
Stuff happens, doesn't it? And then do you find that, like, this is something that happens to me sometimes, you know, watching something or playing something, and then something else comes along a bit further down the line. Oh, I'm gonna get onto that now, and then but I will go back to the previous thing. But then something else comes along, you know, a third thing, and I will get back to that one, and then, you know, before you know it, it's vanished, and you've never finished it.
Oh, absolutely. That's completely me. I'm a massive like awards ceremony fan. So I always I did the Emmys were just the other night, and I've watched most of the series that are on there. I try and watch all the Oscar films when they come out. I just really love, like I say, completionist behaviour. So I like to just sort of, I get really obsessed with things I want to go and watch and learn. That's maybe I'm a writer, so I just want to see as much good stuff as I possibly can, really, so I can just learn from it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, so just throw yourself right into it. So throwing yourself into Doctor Who then, at what point did you decide, I'm going to write for this? Did you try writing stories early on? Was it a thing, or was that a more recent thing? Just tell us how that happened.
Yeah, so I've not like written like a full story before, but I just had loads of ideas for stories that have just like lived on a notes app in my phone for 100 years. Just things that I'm walking down the road and I think, oh, that seems like something will be good. There's one that's been in my head for about 10 years it'll come out at some point. Something will happen with that one. But this one, basically how this one came about was that I did a master's in writing, and on my master's course was Noga Flation, who's the producer for Big Finish.
Oh, okay.
And we ended up, obviously, a lot of the time we would just be sitting and chatting about Doctor Who. And then we graduated, and I just got a message from her out of the blue being like, would you like to write for Doctor Who? And I was like, what? Oh, maybe I would. Yes. Let me come back to it. Yes, I would. Thank you very much. So yeah, and that came about because obviously, just chatting about it and just like speaking about how much I loved it, and obviously both of us being on a writing course. So it wasn't like I just got sort of dropped in, and she'd seen my writing, she'd read my writing, and then I went and took that to like pitch to Big Finish as well. So. And they were like, yeah, great. And then that's how that all started being kicked off.
And was it a few ideas that you pitched, or was it just the one? How did that?
Yeah, there was. I went in. I think I pitched 9
Wow.
overall.
9. Wow.
Yeah, I think so. Which was at the time. This was 2023. I think I was pitching them, and I was at Edinburgh Fringe. And normally, because I also work in theatre, I'm normally up at Edinburgh Fringe for the entire month. So I was. Sitting there with a very expensive pint next to me, just squeezing my brain of any ideas, and like going through the notes app and everything. And there was one idea, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, just in case it gets made in the future. I know, I'm so sorry, but there was one idea that I pitched, and they came back and they were like, "This sounds great. This is a really good idea." We have just accepted an idea that's very similar for a different range. And I was like, no! But it all worked out at the end. We got this one, so yeah, I'm happy with this.
At that point, did you know it was for the 13th Doctor, or were you just pitching, you know, general Doctor stories?
It was... That's a good question. I think at the very beginning it wasn't... It was definitely... I knew it was a Doctor, but I didn't know exactly who it was. But by the time I'd got around to sort of properly pitching in the ideas, I knew it was the 13th. I didn't know if it was going to be Yaz, if it was going to be Yaz Ryan Graham. I didn't know if it was going to be a new companion. So at that time, that wasn't like it was make a story that we can sort of adapt if we need to. But obviously and beautifully, we got Mandip in to play Yaz, and she's just so. they're both so cool.
Yeah.
They're so lovely and cool.
There's a couple of things I want to say, but and we'll talk more about the audio in a minute. But yeah, the general idea there and what happens, it works so well with Yaz and the Doctor and you know, sort of pushing them up against each other that you know, if it hadn't been Yaz in the end, it would have been great anyway. But because it was, you know, the two of them together, it really adds so much to it, I think, and so, you know, luck kind of, you know, worked out really nicely there. So you'd obviously done, you know, some writing before and you know, stage work and things like that, but I really like that, you know, Big Finish kind of and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you know, took a chance on you there to come and write for them. And it reminds me a bit of what Chris Chibnall did in his era with people like Ella Road and, you know, some of the other writers who'd done theatre work before and hadn't done, you know, TV or, you know, like Big Finish bringing you into the audio world here. So I think that's really great that they're kind of, people are getting those opportunities to kind of, you know, move into another realm. So it must be quite exciting to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think some of the best writers that we have at the moment have a real foothold in television. You know, you've got obviously you've got people like Phoebe Waller-Bridge who come up from Fleabag, and that starts at Edinburgh Fringe. And I think just what's really good about maybe cutting your teeth in theatre is that you're both limited and you're limitless in the sense that, you know, there's only so much you can portray when you've just got a stage and actors, and sometimes you've got set and sometimes you've got effects, but really at the end of the day, theatre is just people on stage, you know, and if you can make a compelling story out of that, then you've stripped it back to its basics, so it's like the people, the characters, the plot, and then you can take that to, you know, into the wider media. And I think it's just a really good, like, it's just a playground and you can really experiment with it. So I just really value it as a place to start.
I wonder, sorry, Joe, I was going to say, just bearing that in mind when you're writing for theatre, like you say, I've never thought it in those terms before, because you are stripping, no special effects as such or any of that sort of stuff. Yes, there's a production behind you, but actually the story's got to be strong enough so it holds its own on a stage with minimal everything. That's got to be a really good discipline to take forward in audio again, because yes, you can conjure worlds from your mind, but that's got to come from the words and the performance. There is nothing else that's going to make that happen. So that's got to be a nice crossover, you know, discipline there.
Definitely. My first play was it was a real-time hour-long play about just a couple, and it was just two people in a room.
Just two-hander,
Just a two-hander, just as their relationship just unraveled. And that was my whole, like, it was a challenge to myself to be like, it's going to be two people on stage for an hour. There's nothing else. Is it going to be interesting? And I think it was. I think the audiences liked it as well. So it's been a really, really useful thing. The other thing as well is that obviously, you know, I do a lot of stuff at Edinburgh Fringe, and if you go over your allotted time by even a minute, they're going to charge you a lot of money. So you learn to keep your stories compacted down.
They don't just kick you off; they actually send you a bill.
They send you a bill,
really?
And you've got to pay it. So yeah, you're like, okay, let's shave off this entire scene. We don't need that. Cut the end. Just get it off.
That's an incentive to stay on target, isn't it? Really.
What you just said there about, you know, writing for stage, it made me think a little bit. So I don't know if you can hear me now. Oh, can you hear me? Oh,
yep.
Crack on. Yep.
So I run a film festival, which Paul has taken part in, and there's a kids category in it.
Oh,
and
I love
the films
kids stuff.
that come in from the kids are, you know, really like you were just saying there, Rory. Like, there's no money, there's very little in the way of, you know, production to any of it, but they have these ideas that are massive
and lots of enthusiasm.
Yeah, and they're not, you know, they're not held back by, oh well, we can't afford to do that, but you know, they'll find a way to do it, and often the ideas they have are more ambitious than what the adults are making, and some of the stuff has been brilliant, isn't it? And you know,
really
like
has.
One of them last year had a portal, and they were taking a nuclear bomb back through time zones. Do you remember? And like, you know, it was obviously a green screen curtain hanging up over a door. You know,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it was brilliant. You know, this big thing, and so I think, you know, having money is great for stuff, obviously, but when you don't have it, and you're forced to use your mind and the resources around you
all the time, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Yeah.
And playground, just make it a playground. That's the
Yeah.
best place to start.
That's it. Yeah.
Have fun, yeah.
So when you came to write the script here, and obviously you pitched your idea and it had been accepted, and then you found out it was 13 and Yaz. What kind of, how much research did you have to do into the pair of them, and how much adaptation did you have to do to your idea and the script to kind of fit for them?
I think in terms of research, not a huge amount. I'd watched all of Jodie's era.
Yes, you know it.
At that point, she'd been announced to be leaving, and then her final episode aired in October of that year. So once I got to like actually writing, her era had come to a close. And so I went back to that, and I wanted to just like understand Yaz and the Doctor's dynamic, because obviously you only really get about, I think it's sort of about 6 or probably more close, like 7, 8, 9 episodes where it's really focuses on the Doctor and Yaz. Obviously Dan's there as well, and you've got some other people popping in as well, but it's quite a crowded TARDIS for the first 2 series, and they get moments, but you don't really get to dig into their relationship as much. So in terms of research, it was just sort of seeing what were the little beats between them like, and I think what I was really just interested in is that they're not codependent. They don't need each other quite as much as the like other companions do, or even in some ways, Jodie's Doctor needs Yaz a little bit more than Yaz sometimes needs their Doctor. Yaz is very capable and very sort of like strong. And I think that was something that I just really wanted to like unpack inside their relationship. So yeah, I think I mean, it's just lovely when your research is just watching television.
I know.
It's just great. I just love it so much. And I listened to some Big Finish stuff, because I actually wasn't hugely aware of Big Finish before I wrote it. So I listened to a lot of like sort of the free stuff, and just sort of got a feel for how an audio drama works. We studied audio dramas when I was on my like MA with Noga, but this was my first actual proper full audio drama writing experience.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive then. As your first kind of go at it, that's really something.
Yeah, right in the deep end with something you love. It's like, here's this baby, don't drop it.
Yeah, but I mean, it is really good, Rory. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, it
is very good. It's the craftsmanship on it is fantastic. The way you've got the relationships is fantastic as well. There's a nice bit of humour that is going throughout, which kind of offsets the conflict. So, it's nice. And, one thing I was really taken by, which I think a lot of listeners are as well, is literally that dynamic between Yaz and the Doctor. And the fact that this kind of, what's it called, the whisper, isn't it, is seeding Yaz's mind almost, but it's building on what's already there. So there's that question as a listener, is like, well, does Yaz really feel this? So what's kind of happening between them? We know how it plays out in the terms of the series, but at that moment, we're in the story and we kind of don't know how it plays out. So we're all kind of on edge here now, because that comfort of that relationship, it's got a nice divisive slice running through it. Is it from alien influence? Is it from Yaz? Do you know what I mean? It's a combination of both in the end, but it's really well done.
And we talked about it, didn't we, Paul? Because in the show...
We reviewed it, Rory.
Yeah.
Hey.
I did listen. I did.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, there's the bit where, the Doctor comes back from space jail and Yaz is really cross at her and she pushes her and things. So that there are moments where, there's friction between them, and the Doctor is as you accurately had in the story, quite kind of a bit clueless about it. She doesn't really kind of get any of it, and doesn't sort of understand why. And I think that, there's quite a large gap, between, Ryan and Graham leaving and Flux starting when all these stories happen. So, things like this kind of drama, I think it works. It fits perfectly, because it's not kind of contradicting anything, and it's building on bits that we've seen and things that we kind of see, again later as well. So. it was just superb, and also little bits like when the Doctor gets put in the cell, and she says, "There's so much boring in here." That mentioned that, didn't I, Paul? I thought that's such a brilliant, like, 13 line. You captured so much of the dialogue.
Yeah, I had a thing with that sonic screwdriver in there, didn't I?
Yeah, I think with them, the kind of the thought process behind it was also that with Ryan and Graham leaving, it's not really specified in either Vampire Weekend or this, like, how long that's been, but it's in my head, it's quite recent. And I was going off the idea of, like when you're like best friends with someone, and then you move in with them, and it's like, oh, we're this isn't quite the dynamic that I expected. So that's kind of what I wanted to explore a little bit with them, is that they're on their own. It's not like a team of people. It's just two people, living together, working together, running around together all the time, and just sort of you just see someone a little bit clearer about that. And I think that is what Yaz notices. And I think that thing of the whisper, it brings out, it does so sort of like things that aren't necessarily true, but it also amplifies things that definitely are there, and that's what I was going for with that.
Yeah, and I think that was absolutely believable.
Yeah, keeps you guessing, doesn't it?
Yeah. So when you started writing, and you knew it was going to be 13 and Yaz, had Jodie and Mandip agreed to come on at that point? So if you were writing kind of when they were finishing up on TV, was it, at that point official that they'd be returning? Because the announcement was some time after, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. It wasn't announced I think it was announced probably, I think it was probably announced like about a good year after I'd started working on it. But yeah, no, we knew we had Jodie, definitely. And then I think Mandip was just a tiny bit later, but yeah, we knew before we actually sat down to write the script. So we pitched everything, the ideas have basically been chosen, and then we knew before we started actually writing the scripts that they'd signed on. I'm not entirely sure, because I don't know necessarily how Big Finish operates, but I'm not sure if they hadn't been able to get them, they might have got one of the the impressionists in as well, like the people, the actors who do. I saw John Colshaw's. Oh my god! I listened to his Capaldi, and I was like, oh my god, that's insane that he can do that.
I haven't heard that yet. I'm looking forward to it.
It's just been announced, and it's like,
it's
really good. It's really impressive. So I think there's always a way to make it work, and I think there's always a way to make it do. But yeah, we knew we had Jodie and Mandip.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And so you must have been keeping a little bit of a secret there for a while.
I was doing my best. I did immediately go and get a Doctor Who tattoo the second that it had been written. So I was just like, no, I just really like it.
Is it in a place where you can show us or not?
Yeah, it's on my arm. So
go on, you have to have a look at this, YouTube listeners.
It's just on there. It's I don't know if you can see very well. It's a sort of squiggly TARDIS. on there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Really
I like
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's like Lord of the Rings. It's like in the club, isn't it? You know what I mean? I've written for Doctor Who, and there's my mark of identity.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Did you know, ages ago, after lockdown lifted, and the local McDonald's opened, and I went down there with my wife and the kids. We said we'll treat the kids because we haven't done anything like that in ages. And it was so busy, there is a point to this story, and there was a guy there directing everyone, and down his forearm he had Gallifreyan symbols.
Oh.
And I said to my wife, she's not interested in Who at all, I said, that guy's got Dr. Gallifreyan down his arm. She went, don't be so silly, it's just patterns. And I said, all right, I'll prove it to you. So when
I'll tell you what it says.
We got near him, and I wound the window down, I said, what's your arm say? And you could tell he was like, oh, do you recognise it, and it was something with his kids, I think, something like that. But we had a brief chat about it. But I was like, yeah, that's quite cool. It looks nice, but you wouldn't know what it is.
Yeah, unless you're in the club, right?
In the club, yeah. So that was quite cool. So Tony Filer over on Twitter sent us a question, and he says, was the story actively intended as an allegory of our current society, blind rage and blame against the incomer, the power of whispers, the unlocking the power of forgiveness, or has our society just caught up with a cracking sci-fi story?
It's a good question. I think it is a little case of being directly influenced by that kind of thing. I was very influenced in the culture of blame and aggression, and how you solve that. And there is no easy solution at all. And I think that's sort of what I was trying to do with the story. But as we've just progressed through the world that we're living in at the moment, it has just seemed to pile misery upon misery, which is sad. And I do think that it came out at kind of a very not fortuitous, what's the word I'm trying to say, sort of like serendipitous time.
I know what you mean.
It comes out in a time where we're just constantly seeing people, we're seeing the news, and we're seeing all this aggression, and we're seeing all of this sort of like blame and pointing, and it feels so much like we're sort of spiraling downwards. I think what was happening while I was sort of coming up with these ideas in 2023 and writing in 2024 is that we were seeing the return of some controversial figures. We were seeing a quite strong swing towards far right ideology, and as someone in the arts, that's not really you can't close your eyes to it. It's quite intense. So I think that was definitely it was an intentional thing to draw on, but I think it is a case of like life following art and developing further, sadly. But that's sort of why at the end I was tempted to kind of come up with a big sort of sci-fi ending and a way to defeat the Whisper. And I sort of cycled through a few ideas, and they really just didn't feel right, because it kind of just felt like the thing that you have to do is you just have to decide to forgive someone, which is so hard to do when you're in that state. And I think that's why Yaz is the perfect person for that, because she's strong enough to decide to forgive someone, to decide to put hate aside. And that's that. So that ending, I really like that ending. And I know some people probably want like a sci-fi big like thing, but I wanted people. I love people. I love characters, and that's where I want to go with that.
It's a character-driven story, isn't it? It's got a lot of the sci-fi trappings. It's got a lot of things out of the Doctor Who toolbox, curses Doctor, and stuff like that, which is it's all good fun. And but at its heart, it's that character piece, and I think I've always maintained that the best stories come from characters and the struggle they've got to get through within that story. And whatever the resolution is, whether it's a sci-fi ending, whether it's a downbeat ending, whether it's an upbeat ending, as long as it works and it's the right thing for those characters to be doing at that point. And I thought it really was, because we kind of know it felt like an important step in Yaz's journey to being the person that she is at the end of Power of the Doctor, so it felt like it absolutely fits into that timeline, and the Doctor and Yaz's developing relationship and their internal journeys as well. So to get all of that in this story, I thought was incredible, really, really brilliant.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
I like the bit near the beginning when they come back to the planet and everything's a mess, and the Doctor says, "Oh, maybe they've invented social media." And I thought, yeah, it's sort of sonically representing the world today, really.
Absolutely. As someone who is almost not on social media at all, like I have one Instagram profile and that's about it.
Oh wow, well done.
Check it, but yeah, it's that comes from a real place. I can't be dealing with that.
No, it's interesting at the moment.
Yes, very.
Purely
very.
because of what you're saying in one respect, this kind of spiraling towards just stuff that we really don't need right now. So.
Everywhere, sadly. So Rory, did you feel any sort of nerves or pressure when you were writing the story for handling a couple of kind of iconic characters there, and also the fact that it was your first audio script? What was kind of going through your head as you were doing it all?
Yeah, I was hugely nervous. I was. It's such a strange thing to be given a character that
Mm.
is so beloved and also has such an incredible history. And I don't think almost anybody other than the James Bond writers would ever understand what it's like to write a character that has been played by so many different people,
Yeah.
and yet still has a sort of a core that you have to adhere to.
Mm.
And I think my main nerves when I was writing was like, is this going to sound like a copy of the Doctor or an
Right.
approximation of the Doctor?
Mm.
And so I worked really hard. I would sort of say the lines back to myself, trying to speak in Jodie's voice and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
see if it
yeah.
sounded like something she'd actually say, or is it just something that sort of like feels like a bit of approximation. So during the writing process, that was a big thing. But I did try my best to just like imagine I was watching an episode. Imagine I was
Yeah.
sitting down
Mm.
on Saturday or later Sunday, and I was locked in and waiting for the story to unfold, waiting to see what the Doctor would do next. Is this bit going to make me laugh? Is this bit going to make me scared? Is it going to make me sad? All of those facets of it, and trying to include those. 'Cause I think Russell T Davies said something along the lines like, "Every good writer just steals," and I was like, "Great, that's good." So I'm going to just keep stealing,
Yeah.
and see where we get.
But it's also with Doctor Who. I mean, there's so much of it. It's difficult to do something which hasn't been done before, and it's that fine line of like dipping into the toy box and bringing your own stuff to it. And in the end, it is your voice and your story and the way you've put these characters through this position that makes it unique. But what I did like actually was the structure of it. Starting, we're at the end of an adventure. Something it happens, and then they come back to it. Like it reminded me that I said in a review actually the Doctor Who story, the Ark, the William Hartnell story, which you must be watching, right? Since you were binging the whole thing.
I have seen, yes, yeah. I
Yeah.
think there's a couple of missing episodes in that one, but yeah, I think I've watched at least part of that one.
Yes, well, they have 2 episodes as one part of the story, and the Doctor's companion has a cold, achoo, achoo, and then they come back a few years later, and that cold has kind of morphed into some horrible virus that has ended up with the slave race, the monoids, overthrowing the kind of rulers of the Ark ship, and it's all changed and everything else. So it's always a lot of fun, I think, when writers play with that sort of structure, because we've got a time travelling show. We can easily come back a few years later, 10 years later, and see what's happened.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun with the Yaz pulling the wrong handbrake and stuff, and then but the whisper kind of causing it. When the recording was taking place, did you go down to the studio? Because sometimes the writers get to, and so did you get to kind of fanboy out and go and do that?
Yeah, I did. I will say that I was just I was just a plank of wood there. Honestly, I'd done I'd done the script. It was all ready. It was there. But yeah, I did get to go down and sort of sit and watch them record. And I can sometimes in situations where I'm just sort of walking in some completely brand new situation, I can go a bit shy. So I was just a bit quiet, I think, that day. But it was just because I was just having such a good time sitting and listening to them all. Just deliver just an amazing thing, and that's Jodie, Mandip, and just the whole guest cast were incredible. And I actually bumped into one, I bumped into Will, who voiced Talpa at Fringe the other day, and we just had a little catch up. And he's just such a lovely guy. Everyone was so lovely. Everyone who worked on that project was so sweet and kind, and we all had lunch together outside and just
brilliant.
chatted away. Just felt really normal, which was sort of strange to me, because I was like, this is just some people making some art, and then we have lunch, and then we all go home at the end. It's great. It was such a lovely day.
Fantastic.
We've talked to various Big Finish writers and actors and stuff, and it feels sort of quite theatre in a way. Would you agree with that? Everyone's in the studio there, and going back to what you were saying about some of your work. There's no props. It's just people delivering lines, and there's sort of a what you call it, repertory feel to Big Finish, with people coming in and out, being called upon for multiple projects.
Yeah, it was. It is very theatre, and it's kind of because they've ended up doing a lot of like playing around with the lines. So most of the times they would get it in one take, and then they'd be like, let's do one where it's, you know, a little bit bigger or a little bit like this. And in my script, obviously, there's a lot where the Zarians turn up, and then they all like, you know, there's a lot of like, "Rah,
Yeah.
and this lot were so up, including Jodie and Mandip, to just be those voices in the crowd. So like the end of the recording session was just them like shouting and screaming and jeering and all that kind of thing. So if you listen really closely, you can hear 13 and Yaz in the crowd. Which is great fun. Really great fun.
Because it always says at the end, other voices by members of the cast.
Yeah, members of the cast,
And I always think, whenever I listen to Big Finish, I want to hear all the members of the cast doing, you know, screaming and yelling and, you know, whatever else they're doing. So next time I listen, because I've listened twice now to it. The next time I listen, I'll have a closer listen for
I've got a video of them doing it on my phone, and it's hilarious. It's so much fun. Yeah. That one's just for me. That's just me.
Brilliant job.
Are you writing any others in the 13 series or any other, you know, Big Finish stuff, or can you not tell us?
No, I'm not writing any more in this series. I know who is. I'm not going to say, obviously, other than the ones who have already been announced. Obviously, Tim Foley and Lisa McMullen. But I know a few of the ones that are coming up, and you're in extremely capable hands.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay. That's intriguing, isn't it? Hey.
So
I thought you were going to say something else then. I thought you were going to say what happens to you if you break that contract. Then.
Yeah.
There's a red dot sort of like in my apartment right now. You know, they can hear me. Yeah,
sitting on your forehead.
Yeah.
Burning away.
So Quill Pen over on Twitter. So this is changing tack a bit now. Which Doctor would you like to come to your birthday party?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
Oh, that is such a good question. Do you know what? God, that's really hard. I mean, obviously, they're all welcome. They're all invited. But I think because I think I would want to see so much more of him. I think I would love to have Christopher Eccleston's Doctor turn up. I'd love to see more of the Ninth. I just love the Ninth Doctor so much. If he can't make it, send Capaldi. But Capaldi has to give the speech, my birthday speech, and that's
that would be the thing.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the snare audio, the Ninth Doctor one?
Not yet. It's on my list. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
I think Paul will probably agree. I think safely can say you'll love it. Tim Foley just
definitely of that era, wasn't it?
Oh,
just that series
just
one vibe,
spot on. You know, like yours fits, you know, brilliantly with 13's era, and Tim did a great job with snare. If it was a proper episode, you know, on screen, I mean, you know, it would just fit straight into that series. You wouldn't kind of question it in any way or sort of think, oh, this one's not as good or anything like that. So it was superb.
Would you fancy writing for the Ninth Doctor yourself?
Oh my god,
series
so much. I'd love to. I would love to. Yeah. Oh my god, I think I'd love to write for all of them. I think, and also I think when you do write the Doctor, you know, this is what I was saying before. Like there is a core to the Doctor, and you know, every actor brings something new and different, but the Doctor is the Doctor. You know, they'll bring their essence to it, and that was what was great about the recording, is watching Jodie bring those words to life in ways that I never could have imagined, and finding jokes that I didn't even know were there. Like she's really incredible at it. So I'd love to. I'd love that.
Oh, fantastic! It sounds like it was a wonderful experience, Rory.
Yeah, it really was. I think highlight of my career so far, probably.
Amazing.
Yeah, and hopefully first of many more as well. Because I think you hit one with the ground running, they're onto you again for more. So I'm sure you've got something bubbling away, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you could email them and just let them know, that'd be great. Just everyone, just let them know. Just say, hey, this guy, maybe.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
well,
what,
we,
I mean,
we can
Doctor
do
Who
that.
fans are sometimes the most difficult person to people to please throughout the world, and myself included. But, looking at the feedback we had on our timeline when we put the question out for, put it out for questions and told people we were listening to the audio, honestly, I think the level of love and excitement and just enjoyment of the story was really super, super high. So you've definitely got whatever it is, you got it right, which is brilliant, for so many people. Maybe not perfect for everybody, but there's enough of it right that we all absolutely love it. So I think it's a job well done, mate, for sure.
Thank you so much. That's very kind. It means a lot to me.
Genuinely, mate. Do that's a good thing about this? We actually get to tell people how much we enjoy their work, don't we? That's great.
Yeah.
That's why I love this podcast, mate.
And but I hope you don't think, oh, they're just sucking up. But we wouldn't have asked you to come on if we didn't think, this was great and we wanted to talk about it. So, it's for real, as they say. So you've tell us a bit more about
I did have a fun thought of what if I came in and then they hated it and they just ripped it the whole way through? I'd be like, that would be hilarious.
No, definitely not that. I mean, okay, on my review there were a couple of things that I thought, well, why did they do that? But that's just me being a whole git, and on the whole, it was fantastic, and I genuinely loved it, as I said. So.
He's quite hard to please. He's quite hard to please, Rory. So,
I don't mean like the stuff I write myself. That's why it never gets out there. So.
Yeah. So he had a couple of sort of nitpicks, but for me, I always say quite sort of. I was going to say quite easy to please, but that if something was bad, I would say it. But I love 13-0 so much, so I'm just like, give me more. And then when it comes out and it's superb, I'm like, yes, even better. So
job done.
It was great. So tell us a bit more about your theatre work, because that's sort of a big part of what you do as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've written a few plays. I did one in 2019 called A Partnership, which did quite well. We did that all on a UK tour. That was the one I was saying about the real-time two-hander, which I acted in originally, and then we did it again. I was like, I'm good. I actually do have a degree in acting, but I just was like, it's too much effort. I've had enough now. I want to sit down.
I've written the thing, for heaven's sake. I don't have to step on it as well.
No, someone else. So no, that was really great, and we did that. And then there was we did another play called Conversion, which is about conversion therapy in the UK. So for LGBT people, what that looks like, because it's a very underreported issue. And that involved a lot of sci-fi and reality bending, and that was me being like, what do I love? What do I want to write? And that was my first sort of kind of reality shaping sort of sci-fi thing that was actually on while I was on my MA. So Noga came to see that, which is how she then got to see my writing and then got to this. So I think that was a very big part of getting me into this. And now I'm back. I'm starting work on a new play that I haven't got too much to say about at the moment, but it is very much tied into that thing of where Return of the Doctor was very much about blame and about forgiveness and about that kind of thing. What do we do? This one's going to be much more about sort of the questions that people are asking and the kind of anxiety that we're all facing all day, every day, told through the eyes of a quiz host. So we're going to see where that ends up.
Well, that sounds fun.
That's interesting.
The man with all the questions is looking for the answers. Is essentially what I'm going to
tagline.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, isn't it?
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, so how far into that production is it? Are you just writing at the moment, or is it?
Just scribbling down. We're in draft at the moment, so we haven't even started putting anything to paper yet. But just cooking ideas and seeing what sticks. Throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, including my dinner when I can't think of anything good to write.
That sounds great. I mean, that's right up my street. Hey, so, let us know how that gets on, please, because we will be up there. We said to Tim, didn't we? Another playwright as well. It's like, Geoff, me and you are going to be going to all these plays. I tell you. But we do love a good play. We really, really do. There's just something about it that is just so immediate and so affecting. You're in there at that moment. And even if there's another play on tomorrow night, it's not the same as the one you were part of as in that audience right there. So it's all good.
Yeah, keep us posted on that, Now, tell us about Paper Mug Theatre. Is that you're involved with them,
That's a
or is
great
that
name.
yours, or tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so that was the theatre company that we started up. So when I finished my acting degree, me and two friends started Paper Mug Theatre, and then we took our plays up to Fringe into various other places through Paper Mug. It's rested for now. But once we have something else to put into the world, it might awake from its slumber.
Okay.
But just for now, it's arrested. But that was just a sort of like three idiots making a theatre company to take place places. So that's what that was.
That sounds like us doing a podcast,
Yeah,
Geoff,
so
doesn't it?
it's just two idiots. Yeah, two idiots doing a podcast. Yeah. So,
Three today. So
No,
honorary
you
Matt,
elevate us, Rory.
So what you mentioned the Empty Child was what made you fall in love with Doctor Who, but what made you want to be a writer? What led you to kind of think, oh yeah, I could do that, or I want to do that?
I'm going to have to give some annoying credit to my mum, because she annoyingly was very right. I said to her, I was like, I'm going to go to drama school, I'm going to be an actor, and she was like, I think you want to be a writer though, don't you? And I was like, no, definitely want to be an actor. Did the 3 years of drama school, finished that, came out, went, kind of want to be a writer. And she was like, oh really? But no, I think I was, while I was doing my degree, I was often the one that was called upon to like sort of, we did a lot of like devise and like editing, and so I was called upon to write a lot of scenes, and eventually then I had my own play put on at the end of the final year, and I've always been someone, I'm a very ambitious person. I don't like to say that there's anything I can't really do, so I always want to get stuck in as much as I can, and I just found that writing feels like a very natural fit for me. I live with stories in my head all the time. I've never not been writing stories. I was writing when I was like 13, 14. I was sitting in class writing knockoff versions of Lost and Doctor Who probably as well. Just writing them all down, and I just loved stories so much. And that love of storytelling's never really gone away. So I think once I kind of understood the business of theatre a bit more, I was like, okay, well, I've seen enough plays now. I've seen so many plays. I'm maybe a bit like you, Paul. I'm quite hard to please. I'm quite picky about what I like. So I was like, well, I want to tell stories that I like, and I want to tell them as well as I can. So I think that was my first, like, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to write something, and I'm going to just take it up. So I'm going to put it on somewhere. It's a lot harder now. I mean, I did this in 2019, so it's pre-pandemic as well, it was a lot. It wasn't cheap, but it was slightly cheaper to go to Fringe and take a show there and take a chance on it. And we also used to have a thing in London called Vault Festival, which is now sadly gone as well. It's just a lot harder to find these like places to start, I think. So I'm really grateful that I got a chance to kind of experiment and just throw things at the wall and see what happened. Really good to cut your teeth on that.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
If what advice would you give to people who want to get into writing and putting on theatre shows? What would be the main things you've learned so far?
I'd say watch and read things as much as you can. Watch and read the things you like. Watch and read the things you don't like. But don't torture yourself. I know some people are like, oh, you have to learn by watching, stuff. And if you don't like it, it's hard. Like, you can learn things from stuff you don't like. Why don't you like it? Ask yourself why you don't like it, and then put it away and don't watch it anymore. But I think. I think it's really good just to have an idea when you watch these things. Just have an idea of how the structure works, because everything adheres to a structure, and learn about those if you can. I personally, I suck at reading like playwriting books and like screenwriting books, because I find them so dry. How to. So I just find them so hard to read, and I think that's, for me, it was much more useful to go and just watch things and just learn through that way, and then just find what you like and write those things. Write the things that you like and play with them. Just like have a big playground in your head. Don't be scared of what it's going to be. accept that the first thing that you write, the first like draft of what you write, will be terrible, but try and find the things that you're having fun with in it, and just keep working on that, and then you can write a next draft and next draft, and it will only get better. It definitely won't get worse than your first draft, no doubt.
Brilliant. Do you ever find it quite a solitary thing, or are you quite happy in sourcing feedback from like a group of friends, that sort of thing? Or
I'm very solitary. Nobody gets a look until I am. For a while.
You're quite protective of it then, while it's in its nurturing stage, like.
Definitely. I mean, I that's just me. I think it's. People like feedback is very useful. Get feedback from people whose opinions you trust.
Yeah.
So I will send it to a couple of people. And also, if you're writing something that's like to be performed, just get some friends round. You buy some pizza for them and
do
just
a
ask
little
them to read it.
kind of thing. Yeah.
They don't need to be actors. They don't need to be actors. It's just really useful to hear it off the page and see
That's
what it
a good
sounds
idea.
like.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Just to get a feel for how the sort of for how the words sound, right? And whether it sounds genuine or credible, I suppose, whether it's right, or the tonality, or even the rhythm of some of the sentences might suddenly go, oh, that's not the thing. So you cut it out at that stage rather than later on when it goes. Yeah, I thought that's a good idea.
And it also helps you. It also helps you find the jokes that are funny. I was so glad that when my friend read Threat Level Broccoli, and I was like, yes, that is funny. Yes, I knew it was. And I was like, great, yes, that's staying in. So that was
brilliant.
Good.
I have to ask actually, just while I remember, the Bristolian accent, was that written into the script, or was that the actors who come up with that?
No, that was in the script, and I honestly,
I
was
said,
just
I bet
like,
there's a reason behind it.
You did. Yeah.
There is a reason. It's a slightly tenuous one in that I was like, well, they're like a peaceful group of people. They like kind of like homely, farmerly people, and I was just like, well, that's sort of like hobbits, isn't it? Really, it's a bit like it's just that. It's literally just that. I just was like, why not? Why not? That was why not of the script.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. Hey, I mean, I said I'm out that way, so it's all good for me. I might not sound like a native Bristolian Southwesterlian pirate, but I've been here 20 years, so I consider myself a native of these parts.
You're an honorary Zarian.
Honorary Zarian, that's right, yeah. Suffering from cold still at the moment after 3 weeks, but
still going, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm a trooper, mate, I'll tell you. Get past me. Bloody virus. Nah, knock it on the head, son. I'll kick it into touch, I would. Yeah. I don't know what that was. I won't do that again.
No.
You're getting cast in the next drama. You're the next. We're writing that character in.
I think really that's his end goal.
Don't make me laugh. Right, should we do our piece while I
whilst you die? Yeah.
Here it goes. Ready? Here it goes. Are you ready? The Time Space Visualizer.
God, that bloke sounds brilliant on there, doesn't he?
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
So we'll all do this, but Rory, you can go first as our guest tonight. What have you been watching or reading or playing in the last week or two that you'd like to tell us about?
What have I been? I was just on holiday in Italy very recently, and molto bene. It was lovely, and I read all of I Am Pilgrim, which I'd never read before.
Hold on.
Was fantastic. Yeah, that's the one.
It's
huge. It's massive. It's a long book. I'm not a spy thrillery person, and this book. It got me. It really, really got me. So well told, so tense, so incredibly written. Yeah, I was a huge fan of that book. So that's my big rec of the for this.
I'm beginning to think
approve of that.
I'm beginning to think this bit is rigged because we asked Tim Foley. And he said, "Oh, I've been reading whatever it was," and you had that on the shelf as well.
Didn't I? It literally just there. Yeah. It's because I am so well read, Jeffrey. I don't know what to say. Yes. So what have you been up to, Geoff? If you had time for things?
I've been reading. Can you see it there? Lady Mechanica, Volume 8. So this is a graphic novel, obviously.
Is that off the top shelf? Is it?
Oh yes, it's
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
a blue, so basically, it's like a steampunk thing, and she is a kind of detective, sort of semi superhero, but she has this mystery around her because she doesn't remember much of her past, and her arms and legs have been replaced by mechanical limbs,
Ooh,
and she
hence
has.
the name.
Hence the name,
Mm.
and she has like strange red eyes as well. So people kind of think she's a bit of a demon, but actually she's kind of a detective, and there's supernatural elements. So this one is about a trip to Russia where there's a monster in a lake, and a family have gone missing and stuff. So it's really good. It's been running for a while now. It's a bit of an independent comic, but it's really good. And I've also dug out Hallows Eve, which is a Marvel comic, and she's
He
kind
does
of
like his Marvel, Rory.
yeah, I do, and she's kind of an anti-hero, and she has this bag of masks, and the masks when she puts them on, she will turn into a werewolf or a vampire or a mummy or something and gain superpowers. So it's got a kind of supernatural feel to it as well. So that's I'm just rereading that because that was really good.
Brilliant. Well, that
not,
sounds
not quite as highbrow, perhaps, but
oh, mate, no, you know
it's
me. I
got
love my graphic
monsters
novels.
and you know,
I'm still working through my Judge Dredd stuff, but
oh yeah,
I did. I was in. We were out shopping today, and I went to Waterstones because the kids and Sarah, my wife, went over to Primark. I don't do Primark. I can't spend an hour in there. So I spent an hour in Waterstones, and apparently they had a bet. The two of them had a bet. Would he buy a book? Would he not buy a book? Well, actually, I bought 2 books. So Yabu sucks. I bought one from, I bought this, which this is really intriguing. What's that? And it's called Tokyo Ueno Station by Yu Miri, who's been a writer, has been around for ages. And I've just started reading Japanese fiction, and Japanese
so was
modern
my
fiction.
wife,
There's not.
actually.
So much of it hasn't made its way over here until very recent years. We all know manga and stuff like that, which is fine, but a lot of the the actual written fiction hasn't until probably the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, until it's really sort of become a lot more out there. So I'm reading quite a lot of that, and that so far looks really intriguing. But I also bought the second book I read was this beast, Magician by Raymond E. Feist, which is massive. That I originally had from like 20 years ago. That's more than 20 years ago. That's 1980 something or other. So that's I'm not that makes me feel old. So that's like 40, 50 something. I don't want to go there. But nonetheless, the new version is like it's got all the bits that he was, because originally when Raymond E. Feist wrote that novel, he was like he had said he had no idea what he was writing. It didn't, the structure that he had to write, and one thing and another, and how to do this, that, and it. And he just wrote it because it's like you said, it just write. The thing you want to write and have fun and everything else, and that's what he did. But his editor apparently said, well, it's got to be a lot shorter, so they cut a lot of stuff out of it. And the new version, this, well, I say new, it's this, was it like a 25-year anniversary edition or something? It's got all that stuff put back in, so I'm looking forward to reading that. It should be fun. I mean, it's 40 years since no, can't be. What's that? 30 years it must be. I'm not that old, crying out loud.
It'll be like a whole new book for you because you won't remember it.
Exactly, yeah. I do remember really enjoying it the first time round, thinking this is just because I'm not big on fantasy as such. I love sci-fi, but fantasy has always been. I sort of liked Lord of the Rings, but I didn't love it as much as a lot of my friends did. But that. When I read Magician for the first time, I thought it was astonishing. It was just so good. So and I haven't read it since, so I'm looking forward to that. There you go.
That should be good. Yeah, I love this section of the show. Now it's great finding out what other people have been.
Are you sort of sci-fi kind of fan, Rory? Outside of Doctor Who, do you read a bit more stuff like that?
Yeah. I don't know if I read it so much. I'm 1 episode into Alien Earth at the moment. A big
Jeff,
fan
Can't
of
talk about that because he hasn't watched it yet. So
I'm going to binge it. I'll wait until it's all on, and then I'll binge it.
No spoilers. But yeah, no, that's really interesting. I think that's the kind of sci-fi that I like, where it's really it's really, you almost don't know what's going on. You know, it's the guy who made Legion as well, which is just such trippy and so like. So I like it when there's like those genres like jump between each other, like the sci-fi blurs with the fantasy and all of those kind of things as well. So yeah, a big fan, but more watching rather than reading. I think.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! I tell you what, I mean, a really good series I watched as well. Recommend for both of you actually is The Expanse on Amazon.
Oh yeah, you like that? Yeah,
really, really good. I mean, it's kind of sort of it's not like Alien. It's kind of bits of it are, but I'm not telling you. Just watch it. It's brilliant. It rewards.
What's it
on? That's all I'm saying. I think it's on Prime.
Oh, okay.
Amazon. Yeah.
Great.
So if you get time, that's always good. It's about 5, 6 series, something like that. Thereabouts. Anyway,
nice.
Yes, definitely recommended. There you go. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Rory. This has been a real pleasure to talk to you, and we hope that we'll hear more from you within the world of Doctor Who, or other Big Finish productions, as well as your stage work. So do keep in touch. Let us know what's going on with that. And like Paul said, we do like a trip to the theatre. We went to see Chris Chibnall's play last year. Was it
we'll buy
year?
Tickets. We're not expecting freebies, so don't worry.
That wasn't a hint. And I went to see Colin Baker in Hound of the Baskervilles that he did, which was sort of like a radio play on stage. You couldn't make it today, could you, Paul? So that was really good. So keep us posted. And best of luck with everything.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been so much fun. I've had a great time.
Great, thank you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Fantastic. Yeah, and brilliant job on Return the Doctor. We love it so much.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Rory
good.
Thomas-Howes, everybody. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. On that note, we shall leave you, dear listeners, as I crave my way into oblivion and hand the exit over to Geoff.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for the questions that came in. And we'll catch you next time on Who Corner to Corner podcast, TTFN.
TTFN? What's TTFN?
Ta-ta for now.